So some of you know that Opie and I are pretty big music fans. We go to a lot of concerts, as many as we can. However, when I was in high school, I admittedly kind of missed the mark when it came to music and missed out on some pretty good groups back in the 90s, early 2000s, Y2K era. There was a lot of really good alternative and indie groups, and I was 100,000 million % not on board with that. The reason for this was that I was living in my boy band era. Any boy band fans out there? Yes, okay. This is hitting so much better than 8 o'clock already. It's great. Yep, the inside of my locker was like plastered with pictures from magazines of boy bands. Back when you got to have a locker and you could decorate it, a few of you remember these things, right? I also kind of had pictures of Derek Jeter because I was a Yankees fan at the time. I got better, but he was young and hot and I was gonna marry him. I failed. But I was not an exclusive boy band listener. I infused it with some, pop princesses like Christina and Britney and Jessica Simpson and Mandy Moore. Spread it around a little bit. Had a little country. The chicks were on heavy rotation because Fly had just come out and everybody thought Earl had to die. I had some variety. If I wasn't listening to a bunch of pop garbage, which I not so secretly still enjoy very much, what I listened to was whatever happened to be playing on the radio, because in my old junkie beater of a 1983 Mercury Lynx, this is not my car, this is just pictures of them I found online, but I mean, come on, let's be real, that car's hot. Yeah. It was also 3 years younger than I was, but that's okay. Yeah, the cassette tape deck did not work. So there was no choosing what I was gonna hear. It was whatever happened to be playing on the radio. I tended to alternate between Z100 and 95.5 Live, which are radio stations out of Portland, Oregon. And then I'd throw in a little K103 soft rock. Anybody miss the soft rock stations? Right? It's a good genre. It should come back. My husband hates it. I think it's amazing. I'd switch over to that station if the other two were on commercial. So what's interesting is these groups that used to drive me crazy back then because they were always on the radio and they just dominated and took over, are actually groups that I have found in adulthood I actually enjoy very much. I've gotten to rediscover some of these groups. For example, some of you might have seen a post I put up on social media if we're friends, but there's this British brother band that is out there. It fluctuates between loving each other and hating each other with every fiber of their beings. And for the last, 15 years, they've hated each other with every fiber of their beings. And so there has been no touring, but they've recently reunited and are launching a European tour next summer. Some of you might have heard of them. They're called Oasis. Some of you familiar? Right. So when we found out about this, Opie definitely jumped on and got pre-sale access and then fought with Ticketmaster for an hour. And you know what? We are back deck nosebleeds, but he succeeded in getting us tickets for next July 5th in Cardiff. So we're going to Europe to see Oasis. Y'all, my sabbatical just got so much cooler, you don't even know. I was gonna go visit national parks and stuff. Now I'm gonna go to Europe. So Oasis is pretty much all I plan to listen to for the next year, so I actually know what's happening when I get in there, because there's lots of concerts where I just sort of stand there awkwardly and have no idea what's happening. Back in the day, I didn't listen to Oasis. I kind of disliked them a lot because Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova were played to death on the radio, and I was beyond over it. It's funny because I very much love clever, obscure, poetic lyrics and that really kind of make you think, and that's 1,000% Oasis, but I don't know. I guess they weren't cute enough or something. Now, I've evolved and matured and developed my tastes a little deeper, but in some respects, I really don't mind that it's taken me this long to figure out that bands like Oasis are amazing, because it means that I get to rediscover something about my youth and my thoughts at the time and myself then and myself now. Not to mention, I get to listen to some really great music, and to me, it's new. And I don't have to wait years and years for new albums to come out because there's like 30 years worth of albums on Spotify. It's great. What I have come to realize is that life is a journey of rediscovery. Not just about music, but about all kinds of things. And that journey is not unique to me. We all engage in this journey of rediscovery. It's part of the human condition, and it always has been. Our gospel this morning shows us just how much. So this is one of my favorite gospel stories, in the whole Bible. Partly because the woman, who is sort of Jesus's counter character in this story, who goes toe-to-toe with Jesus and isn't taking anything from him, she's Syrophoenician. In a modern context, she'd be from Syria or from Lebanon. So I identify with her a lot. If you remember from my sermon of last month, I believe, my great-grandparents emigrated to the United States from Syria. They were Syrophoenicians. So not only is this woman like an ancient ancestor from my tribe, but she has some personality traits that I can definitely also identify with, because this girl is sassy, and she is bold, and she does not suffer fools lightly or take nonsense from anyone, including Jesus. The other reason why I like this story so much is because we see a very human side of Jesus. We tend to fixate almost exclusively on Jesus' divinity and forget that he was fully God, but he was also fully human, which means there's room for prejudice and error and narrow-mindedness. I like the stories where we see that version of Jesus because it makes me feel a little less like a jerk when I have those moments myself. In this story, Jesus is in the region of Tyre, which is located in modern-day Lebanon. He doesn't want anyone to know that he's there, so of course, everyone knows that he's there. And the heroine of today's story, the Syrophoenician woman, begs Jesus to help cure her daughter of a demon. We don't know what this demon or ailment that is plaguing her daughter is. We just know that she is desperate for her to be healed. So desperate that this Gentile woman reaches out to an itinerant Jewish rabbi for help. Now, usually this is the point in the story where Jesus helps the people and everybody believes and it's a miracle and all kumbaya and love and happiness. But in this story, that doesn't happen. Jesus is flat out rude to her, like ugly rude. He tells her that the children need to be fed first, and it's not fair to throw their food to the dogs. So the translation is, I need to take care of the Jewish people first. You're not my kind, and as far as I'm concerned, you're no better than a dog. You're not my problem. So there's this particular word in the English vernacular that literally means female dog by definition, but in a modern context and slang actually has a completely different meaning. And when it's thrown at someone, particularly a female, it's not just unkind, it's downright mean and ugly. Y'all tracking what I'm talking about? Got the reference? If not, you can ask me after church. This is basically what Jesus calls this woman. And she responds about how you'd expect anyone to respond, with a whole lot of, I don't think so. Oh no, that's not how this conversation's gonna go. She calls Jesus Sir, not Rabbi or Messiah or even Master, which at the time was a term of respect as much as it was a station. Nope, she says Sir. Sir, even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs. Or in other words, look, home slice, I'm not asking for you to free me from Roman occupation or from a lifetime of pain and suffering or even really trying to benefit myself at all. I just want my daughter to be well. What parent wouldn't? I've come to you because I believe. I believe what I've heard and that you can help her. I don't deserve your contempt or your disdain. And this is the moment where Jesus' entire trajectory and his ministry changes. He realizes that he was wrong, and he heals her daughter. He rediscovers his mission and his purpose. He thought he came to teach and redeem the Jewish people, but through this encounter, he realizes his purpose is so much greater. His objective is to reach and transform the world, all of the people. And then in the second half of the gospel, he does just that. He moves on to the region of Decapolis, which is located in Palestine to the southeast of the Sea of Galilee, and was populated primarily by Gentiles. And there he was brought a man who was deaf and struggled to speak. We can assume, based on the region that he was in, that this man was a Gentile. And without question, he healed him. Jesus is moving from the boy band era onto some Oasis. He is progressing and rediscovering. There's a lot of commentarians that try and justify Jesus' treatment of the Syrophoenician woman and claim that he was just teaching the disciples a lesson or testing her faith. But the gospel narrative doesn't specifically tell us any of that. And usually, if that's the case, it's spelled out. I think the lesson here is that Jesus was able to learn about himself and rediscover himself and his calling and purpose. He was able to admit that he was wrong and change moving forward. And if Jesus can do that, so can we. We're not trapped forever in the boy band genre. We get to discover and rediscover and change our minds. We get to embrace new experiences and re-experience the same things differently. We get to open ourselves up, and we should open ourselves up to the realization that what we thought we knew, or what we thought we were about, or what we thought was right or wrong, or good versus bad, or normal versus abnormal, or just the accepted realities of our lives, are going to shift, and they're going to change. And we will rediscover things as that happens. I don't know about all y'all, but in my life, these moments of rediscovery are almost always brought on because of other people, their perspectives, their thoughts. I'm introduced to things by them. We collectively force each other to see the world differently, and to think about things differently, and to hear things differently, and to stop listening to boy bands. And kiddingly, totally listen to them. I enjoy them very much. There's just room for more. Pop princesses, Oasis, there's room for all of it. This is why the connection and reconnection to a community of faith is so important. Why service and engagement is critical. This is the place where a strange hodgepodge of mismatched, weird people all come together and challenge each other and evolve together. We embrace a common mission and work toward that purpose. And that mission can and will change. It should change. Because if it's changing, then so are we. It means that we're growing and evolving and rediscovering both our individual identities and reasons for being, but also our communal identity, mission, and purpose. We're transitioning into new and different times right now. And this is a time of rediscovery as a community. And that's exciting, and it's beautiful, and kind of scary, but always, always led and inspired by the Holy Spirit. And I'm personally so glad that we are all on this journey of rediscovery together. This morning, I'm going to end with some song lyrics for you to think about by Oasis, of course, from their song, Acquiescence. I don't know what it is that makes me feel alive. I don't know how to wake the things that sleep inside. I only want to see the light that shines behind your eyes. I hope that I can say the things I wish I'd said, to sing my soul to sleep and take me back to bed. Who wants to be alone when we can feel alive instead? Because we need each other. We believe in one another. And I know we're going to uncover what's sleeping in our soul. There are many things that I would like to know, and there are many places that I wish to go. but everything's depending on the way the wind may blow. I don't know what it is that makes me feel alive inside. I don't know how to wake the things that sleep inside. I only want to see the light that shines behind your eyes. Because we need each other. We believe in one another. And I know that we're going to uncover what's sleeping in our soul. Amen.